Hi, I'm Sik.
And I'm Twisted.
And this is a Sik and Twisted Horrorcast. Hi, guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Sik and Twisted Horrorcast. I am Sik.
And I am Twisted.
And we are your hosts for this magnificent show. This show will be consisting of reviews on movies, horror news, and horror video games, and any other types of horror out there, whether it be real life or books or like anything. So,
but yeah, it's pretty much just kind of both of us and kind of coming into our love of horror and just kind of putting it out there for everybody else to hear. I'm going to say it at the top. I'm going to say it at the bottom. This is our opinions. 100% straight across the board. This is just what we think of these movies. If you love them and we hate them, that's perfectly fine. If we hate them and you love them, perfectly fine. Like, it's straight up, this is just what we think of it, and we're just putting it out into the world for people to just kind of take in.
More than likely, we're still going to receive hate anyway because this is the internet.
Yeah, we're just two fat guys in a basement. Like, it's not like this isn't anything special here, folks.
That's valid.
But yeah, like you said, it's just going to be the biggest thing is just we're going to be kind of covering horror news. So any upcoming movies that are coming out that we think that we should keep an eye on, or really just kind of anything that's kind of hitting the theaters, or anything that we have found that we feel needs to be brought up, or anything like that. Just kind of letting people really know what's out there in movies, video games, literature, anything like that. Just kind of bringing it to the people and letting them know what we think about it, but always reminding everybody that it's an opinionated piece. You go watch it yourself, let us know what you think about it, and make it a conversation.
Oh yeah. Well, first off, like, I guess we should introduce ourselves. So, like, how did you get into horror, man?
Getting into horror for me was a rough start.
See, me too.
Because I remember, like, the first clearest memory I have is Blade. And watching, and I know that's not technically horror, but like, I remember being a kid and I watched Blade, like the first bit of Blade with my family.
Oh, during the Blood Rain rave?
Yeah, like, you walk in, I
which, by the way, why is a rave held in the back of a meat packing plant?
No, there's questions. I've got questions. Like, don't get me wrong. These fucking guys have got like a system that is just bumfuck Egypt. What the hell? But I remember it was with my family, and I walked in on it not knowing what it was because I was in another room. I came in and it was just on, and I'm like, oh, cool, what's going on here? And then this dude is just being led into this rave, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, what's happening? And then blood starts raining from the ceilings, and vampires are trying to tear this dude's throat out, and my mind flipped shit, and I was done.
I could see that. I could see how that could be an issue with that movie. That's definitely true. Like, me as well, it was really tough for me to get into horror because I was a complete pussy growing up. I was an absolute baby back bitch. But and so, like, I got scared watching John Walsh's Most Wanted because there was construction going on across the street, and he was talking about a guy that was a construction worker now and shit.
Now you can't. I refuse to be upset at anybody for being scared by John Walsh's Most Wanted, because that's some stuff,
dude. And I met that dude like a year before because I went to school with his niece in Pennsylvania.
You met John Walsh or the killer?
John Walsh.
Oh, okay,
dude. If I would have met the killer, shit, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this cast.
I was like, you need to talk to Jesus.
Well, that is also valid.
But it was like, really, like, the biggest thing. I didn't like horror when I first started. It was a weird intro. And I remember my big first horror movie that I loved was a Creature Features, and it was Reptilicus.
Oh, beautiful movie.
This beautiful work of crap.
It's garbage, but I mean, it's got a good plot.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Come on, man. The plot of this damn movie was literally they were digging in the middle of nowhere. Like, I didn't even know what they were... I think they were digging for oil. Or either oil or minerals.
And then it just turns into Jurassic Apocalypse.
But they were drilling, and then they hit... They were like, stop the drilling! Stop the drilling! And they bring up the drill, and there's blood on the drill. And they're like, blood? It's blood. It's blood. And I'm like the acting was awful. And then they bring this piece of flesh, like they dug it up or something like that, and it was just like a tiny little thing. And they froze it, and they were looking it over, and they were like, this is very interesting. It is a reptile. It is fascinating. And then, like,
Did Van Helsing from the original Dracula voice this guy?
It was all like, it was a field of dipshits. Anyway, so it was like the dude, the doctor falls asleep.
Right.
And the door wasn't shut all the way. And it opens, and then the thaw happens on the beast. And they say, oh my God.
It's Encino, man.
You see, I remember this very clearly. It's bad. I shouldn't remember it this clearly, but it was the doctor. They come in and they find it's all thawed out and it's starting to grow.
Oh, good Lord!
And they go, "You let it thaw, and now it is alive." I was just like, "What are you doing?" But they like put it in like a bath and they just let it grow. And then it gets so big it breaks out. They did nothing to contain this thing. And like it spit acid, and the acid it would spit it at the screen is what it would do. It was just at the screen, and it would just cover the screen, and that's how you knew people were dead.
So it just like the ink from Mario Kart, just
but it was like, and like you could just tell it was so awful, and it would just spit out from the mouth, and it would hit the screen and just like cover the whole screen, and you were just like, oh no, they died, no. So it was the dumbest stuff, but I would watch that movie every single night. It was Reptilicus, it was Godzilla, it was it was just creature features is how I got started, really. And then that creature feature led into the sci-fi original movie garbage that's on, and then it just I just got over it pretty much. Like the older I got, the more I realized that it's just for fun.
And it's fake.
And it's not even about being fake for me. It's about being able to laugh.
Right.
For me, like, I watch horror because I enjoy horror, and I enjoy the laughter that I get from watching horror. That is probably why I'm twisted. Because I just enjoy just laughing heartily at some just good horror, bad horror, all the way. And that's how I know it's some good horror, is if I watch the movie all the way through and I don't laugh, but I still enjoy the movie.
Right.
That's some good horror. I know that I enjoyed the movie if I can, like, it's not good horror, but I enjoy the movie if I'm able to laugh my way through it and, like, point out stupid things.
Right.
But there are bad movies out there which I will watch,
and they're gold.
No. No, I'm talking about the movies that are like,
Carnivore?
Why did I just watch? No, not like Carnivore. Like Carnivore, you can enjoy that. You can sit there and laugh at the parts.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm talking like, I think the one that I hated the most so far is It Comes at Night.
Really?
It is this movie. Red Door is like this big premise. Pretty much like if you go outside, there's this infection in the world that like is getting to people somehow, but it doesn't really explain how.
Right.
It's just bad. Like literally, I even
for
watched.
me, it was Paranormal Activity.
That's another like.
God, it's so bad. It just relies on jump scares, and those don't fucking do it for me.
But the problem is with this one, there are no jump scares.
Oh God.
Literally, I watched the behind the scenes footage on this one just because I needed more information, and the director goes, well, the family doesn't know what's going on, so why should the audience?
Oh my good Lord.
I'm like, because it's important to understand what is happening in the movie because this is awful.
It's called plot, sir.
This is horrible. What are you doing to me?
Plot hole, the movie.
It's the dumbest thing. Like, it was bad. It was just awful. I had no enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it with a blank face, and I didn't laugh. I didn't enjoy myself. It just wasn't good.
Right.
So there are movies out there like that, and that is my scale. Can I enjoy it on a horror level where this is a truly scary movie and it affects me in a scary way, or can I laugh at it? Mm-hmm. And those are the two ends, and I never want to be in the middle, because if I'm in the middle where I'm watching it all the way through, but I'm not making any emotion, and it's just a bad movie, that's how I know it's a truly bad horror movie.
Well, yeah, when it comes to any kind of movie that you enjoy, like when it comes to, you know, certain people who like their chick flicks or their action, it's because it elicits a certain response. It elicits a certain emotional response, and it, like, people who like action love that adrenaline rush that they get from seeing explosions. People who love their rom-coms and chick flicks, they love their teary eyes and their smiles and their awes, whereas we like our blood, guts, and gore, where, you know, we could see somebody getting sawed in half and we're like, oh yes.
That's stuff.
It's a beautiful thing, because it just elicits this response of, oh, I feel it, but I'm also just like, I'm so glad that's not me.
Or, man, that guy had it coming.
Right.
Why did it take so long for that guy to get it?
Oh my god. Like, especially movies like Saw, where it's like people that are really bad, just people that need to appreciate their life more.
Yeah.
And they get their comings one way or another. Either they die and it's a bad person gone, or they live and they recognize their other ways.
Yeah, but I mean, and we can talk about Saw for, you know.
Oh god, another time.
A whole freaking 2 goddamn episodes, but whatever.
We will.
So let's go back to you. How did you get your start into horror?
You know, I had the pants scared off of me when I was a kid by
Did you put them back on?
Well, yes.
Okay, good.
I was at a babysitter's house that my aunt left me at during the summer, and she played a movie called Hide and Seek. Now, if you ever watch this movie, it is one of the weakest movies I have ever seen in my life. But yet, as a kid, as an adult, it's totally weak. It elicits a good response from me. It's a decent movie, but it's just not a good movie. And but I was obsessed with the spooky. You know, I had this love for, you know, as a kid, my grandpa gave me this little record, or not a record player, but a CD player that also had a radio in it. And I was sick of listening to country, which my parents played all the time, and I was sick of listening to 90s hip-hop, which I love to this day. And I was sick of listening to 80s hair metal. For the love of God, if another person plays Poison around me, I'll die. But
behind the boat.
But I was obsessed with the Misfits and Rob Zombie and Alice in Chains and Marilyn Manson, and they always had these horrific images and these different, you know, quotes or different talkings about horror movies, classic horror movies. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start small. And I started with the Addams Family and the Munsters, and fell in love with my main woman, Elvira. Oh, Cassandra Peterson, if you ever listen to this, I will marry you in a heartbeat.
Wait till he gets his beard back.
Oh, shut up. And I just started out small, you know, Tim Burton, Disney movies. And then one day, I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to dive right into this. And House of a Thousand Corpses was playing, because I had heard that Rob Zombie made movies. And that was because I saw the trailer for Halloween 2. And so House of a Thousand Corpses was on, and it said directed by Rob Zombie. So I just like, yes, we're going to watch this. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm awake. My parents are passed out. I throw it on. I die laughing. I am just laughing back and forth at this crazy blood adventure that Rob Zombie creates. And I was just like, you know what, dude, I can't stop. And then my dad introduced me to Friday the 13th, number 1 with the mother, and then Saw, which my mom wouldn't watch horror movies with my dad. My mom punked out on Hills Have Eyes, dude. Like, it's and like the remake Hills Have Eyes, not even the good one. So I started having this fucking love, man. And then I found the black and white Universal monsters when I was in high school. You know, I have this huge love for Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. Their Draculas and their Frankensteins were better than any other, I believe, that have come since then. They have shaped horror. They were the godfathers of it, between them and Vincent Price and Christopher Lee. And so, yeah, that's really how I got into it. Nobody in my family is really into it. Like, my aunt loves Aliens. She got me into Aliens when I was a kid. What? And she also got me into Nightmare on Elm Street.
And that's all just like, it's a matter of preference, you know.
Yeah.
And I think every person's got their own genre, their own style, their own flavor for each kind, you know, whether it's horror, whether it's action, whether it's whatever.
Right.
You know, with horror specifically, though, like, if I were to like picking a favorite is almost impossible, but picking a genre as far as like that, I have a personal love for movies that break the cliche. I know that's not like a technical genre. It's not like a
like Scream or
like Scream breaks the cliche
hardcore. Like, that was the whole point.
It doesn't just talk about the cliche. Like, it talks about the cliche and then it breaks those cliches and things like that. But it still also followed the cliches on some points.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
So I'm talking like Feast.
Oh god.
There's this movie called Feast. By all means, guys, you got to watch this movie.
Oh, God.
It's a phenomenal movie. It's still one of the very few movies out there that run... It does practical effects.
Right.
Not CGI. It does that all the way through it. And to me... It's a phenomenal movie. Like, it was one of those movies... Not 2 and 3. The first one. 2 and 3 got weird.
Dude, I haven't even seen 2 and 3, so...
They got weird.
But I like it when they get weird, man. Like Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. I'm one of the few people that like Lords of Salem, dude. So, I mean...
Let me put it this way. Producers for Feast was right at the top of the billing, Wes Craven.
Oh, dude, that's fantastic. When Wes Craven puts his name on something, you know it's going to be gold.
And Ben Affleck.
And that's when my suspicion...
Matt Damon.
No.
I'm not kidding. Like, this is a thing that actually happened.
So
like, it's
weird.
On the damn executive producers. Wes Craven, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Harvey Weinstein, Chris Moore.
Of course, Harvey Weinstein.
Well, that was before he was weird.
Yeah. It was during, but we didn't know.
It's very good. There's... These are the people that got involved with this movie, and Wes Craven is such a massive name in this industry, as we all, hopefully we all know. But yeah, this is what we were getting, and it was all this. But like right at the top of the movie, it's introducing the characters, and it does this freeze frame on every character. Right. And the freeze frame explains the character. And gives them a life expectancy.
Oh, good God. Oh, that's kind of cool.
And it was cool. And Jason Mewes, right at the start, does a cameo in this movie. Jason Mewes, for those of you who don't know, is Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
One of the funniest human beings behind the camera.
Fantastic. And it was interesting because they gave everybody a life expectancy. And then they blew their own life expectancies out of the water.
All of them?
Almost every single one. Like, this guy busts into the bar, and he's holding the shotgun, and he's just, we gotta lock this bars down. You know, so that means doors, windows, assholes, and zippers. You know? He's like, and like the moment he pops through the door and he gives this big hero speech, they do it, and they was the hero. You know, life expectancy pretty fucking good, you know. And then like they're like, who the hell are you? And he takes a sip of a beer and he turns around and he's, I'm the guy that's going to save your ass. And the moment he finishes, a monster reaches in, pulls him through the window, bites his fucking head off. and then immediately after, his wife busts through the door. She goes, "Where is he? Where's my husband?" And she's the heroine.
Oh, good God.
So it was this crazy thing. And then, like, right off the bat, spoilers, sorry, but they kill the kid.
Right.
It's not something horror movies do.
Yeah,
they just straight up kill the kid.
Like, see, I don't like movies where they kill the dog. Okay, Children of the Corn did it pretty well.
Yeah, but like, this is the thing though. This is why I like it so much. Cabin of the Woods, absolutely love it because they followed those cliches, right? But it was behind the scenes.
Right.
In the movie.
Yeah.
It explained why there are these cliches.
Right.
Like
People are setting these.
We are adjusting every setting. We are controlling every aspect. And that busted through that back wall, man. And I loved that factor.
I can dig it.
With Feast, they kill the kid. They break their own cliches. It's these things that break the norm, but still give you a fun time. And I absolutely love that. Right. That is like, if you ever find movies like that, send those things my way because I'll watch them all night.
Right. I mean, I could get that. I mean, I wouldn't say creature feature would be my favorite genre, but more like hidden horror, I guess, where it's like what you don't see is more terrifying than what you do see. Like you don't.
Are you talking like Michael Myers not being able to see his face sort of thing?
No, like it's, kind of, because, that's a big reason why I love Mikey. But... Mikey! My boy! My psychosis. But no, like, that was a big thing with the early classics of horror because you couldn't show blood, guts, and gore back then. People would have been around stabbing each other if they would have seen that in a theater. But... it was more like, you didn't see Bela Lugosi bite into that girl's neck, but you know that she did, and you heard her scream, and that elicits this response inside of your head, and you start to imagine what it would have looked like, and you create your own nightmare within your head, and it's kind of interesting.
So kind of like Let the Right One In, whenever the kid's being held underwater, but all you see is like the body parts falling in the water as she's killing all of the bullies.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're not seeing her kill all the bullies, but you're imagining what that may look like.
Okay, I can understand
that. But like my favorite movies were always like that. Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, of course, is my favorite movie of all time. Lost Boys was full of that. You didn't watch them tear apart that guy at the beginning when they pulled him out of the car. All you saw was them rip it open, these guys screamed, and then, black screen.
That's fair, And that's one of those things, though, but, but with, like, movies... horror, I think there's a separation there's a difference there between what you can get from movies and what you can get from games.
Oh, God, yeah.
So for me, don't get me wrong, I love playing horror games. It is a freaking, it is a blast. But I am a chicken shit when it comes to playing. What was the first
game that ever scared you?
The first game that ever scared me?
Yeah, like, to the point where you had to turn it off.
There was a game for the Sega... Was it the Saturn, I think? The Sega Saturn, I believe it was. D.
D?
Just D.
Never heard of it.
So, it was this weird game. I don't even remember much about it, but I will always remember... that. I just remembered D, and I've seen it before. Like, I've seen it again since I played it. Okay. And I've always remembered that thing scared the hell out of me.
Right.
But I mean, before that, not before that, I'd say after that, because I remember that being like the big one that scared the hell out of me.
Right.
And then after that, it'd be Resident Evil.
What part?
The dog jumping through the window.
Thank you.
It's the
dog
jumping through the window.
That is the scariest moment. That was one of the
you
first
didn't even know
games.
dogs were on the table. Dogs weren't on the table.
No,
zombies.
they were not on the
I bought
menu.
this game because of zombies. What are you doing with dogs in the
Nope, it's zombie dogs, dude. Jumping through a window, and you're standing there with a gun with like 3 bullets left, and you're just like, oh.
A gun with 3 bullets and no camera control.
Dude, those games knew how to make you feel absolutely helpless.
Like, that was the roughest stuff, man.
I'd say the other one that scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me was Doom 3.
Okay.
When you see the giant monitor and the skull comes out and flies through, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm turning off the Xbox. We're not playing this anymore tonight. It was like 10 o'clock at night, pitch black dark, everybody's asleep, and I was just like, yeah, we're not doing this, bud. Turn off the Xbox, put Halo back in.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I remember, like, Resident Evil being, like, a huge one to scare the damn
Oh, God, that...
And then, like, you take those games and you compare them to nowadays games, and they're doing it even better sometimes.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like,
the new Resident Evil was incredible.
Like, there are great ones.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Resident Evil 7, like you were saying, phenomenal.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, because you know what I loved about it? Is because we've been building the Resident Evil games, and Resident Evil 4 is obviously like one of the highlights of the newer series.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knew about Resident Evil 4. I remember Resident Evil 4 scaring the ungodly crap out of me because a buddy of mine invited me over to play, and I was like, oh, sweet, no, yeah, I'll play some Resident Evil. And then we get over there, and he's like, oh, hey, you can shoot those fish in the water, you know?
Oh, God.
He's like,
no.
yeah, man, that's an achievement if you can kill all the fish. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to get that achievement. I'm a hunter, man. I get them achievements. What are you talking about? So I get up there, and I'm pistol up. Bap, missed it. Bap, missed it. Dang, it's not easy. Bap, giant fish come up out the water and eat me. And I swear.
Did you need new shorts?
I needed new shorts. He needed a new chair.
His mother needed new carpet.
It was a bad scene, man. I just like that Resident Evil 4 though. It's one of the classic. Like I would put it as a classic now because it is an amazing part of that series.
Unfortunately, that series started to go way downhill, and thus making us skeptics when 7 came out, and then when it came out, blew all expectations out of the damn water.
Because with Resident Evil 5, you know, you had the gameplay went a little bit downhill, but you got the co-op, which pumped it up.
Yeah.
So you were able to do co-op, and that's awesome, and it really introduced something. And then Resident Evil 6 hit, and it was like garbage. You've lost the plot entirely.
Not only that, but me and my friend Paul, we beat all of the stories in one night. Like, the gameplay was unbelievably short.
Well, that's a big issue, is you shouldn't have all of these stories straight up 100%. Make it one cohesive story, and that's what you need. And I think, like, if you wanted to do those other characters as a downloadable content, cool.
Yeah.
But you need one long story.
Yeah.
You need a good long story. And it wasn't, to me, it wasn't horror.
Right.
It wasn't even action survival. It was just action. Not even good action.
It was one of the easiest games I've ever played, and I beat Max Payne in 2 hours. So
it was like crappy Gears of War. Like,
God! And speaking of games that have gone downhill,
well, hold our review on that one. But then Resident Evil 7 hit, and it felt like one.
Right. Oh, God, it was impeccable.
Even, like, it brought me back to the dogs coming through the window.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was walking, walking. All right, and I just had this crazy interaction with the family, and I'm like, okay, I'm finally loose. Let me walk around, and then boom, right through the freaking wall. There comes the dad.
Yeah. Oh God, the dad freaked me out on so many levels.
And it was through the wall.
Yeah.
That's what was great. Because I'm walking next to a window, and my brain, I'm like, all right, now I'm going to check that window. I gotta watch that. Wall, what the hell? What are you doing, wall? No, you're a wall. Stop it.
Be a wall.
Be the wall.
Make walls great again.
Guys, this podcast is really about making walls great again. Let's just get the walls.
Wait, that's a controversial topic right now.
But
we don't believe in walls, guys, unless it's the fourth
walls,
wall, which is meant to be broken.
I'm talking to you, guy in the hat. No, I'm just
kidding. Are you sitting on your couch, half naked, eating Cheeto dust? Bong on the table still lit?
I'm pretty sure this is copyrighted. We can't do this. But no, it was, I mean, but no, games have turned a corner, and nowadays you've got games like Resident Evil 7, you've got games, and you've got games even that give you the option to make the story, like Until Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
I think Until Dawn, and it gave you something, it gave you the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh yeah. Well, like when I first started getting into horror, I was at an anger management complex where I stayed for the week, and then I went home on the weekends.
Don't be the killer. Don't be the killer.
Don't be the killer. Well, I had issues. I still have issues. That's why I'm sick. But I was at this anger management place, and they had the choose your own adventure books. And some of those would go in such a drastically dark place. Like, they had one for 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea that went to the darkest depths of, like, they're going to suffocate. They're going to suffocate. And he's still like, no, we don't need to go to the surface. People will see us. We will die. It's like, okay, Ahab, like or Nemo.
Can I go back to page 2?
Right? And I would flip a coin sometimes to see which way I would go.
You know how many times I would have, like, I would be just finding stuff around my table just to put stuff in pages. Just
God, yeah.
Okay, no, I saved it. I can go back. I can just go back. Like, the whole book would just be like flip. It was ridiculous. But no, like, with Until Dawn, that was probably one of those innovative horror games that I'd seen in a long time.
Right.
Because of this whole butterfly effect style gameplay, where it was even the smaller decisions that you think wouldn't matter kind of mattered in some way or another. Whether you decided to look through his bag or not look through his bag, it would affect the relationship and how that person trusted you towards the end. It would affect, whether that person was gonna, if they did trust you, they were gonna come with you. If they didn't trust you, they might not. They'd be a little more hesitant, and it would change and alter every single course to the point where it is, it's kind of a fact that if you do it a certain way, you can make every single person survive, and if you do it a different way, everybody can die. Right. And you can get it from anywhere in between, where some people die, some people don't. Depending on how you do the quick time event, depending on the choice you make, depending on the direction you turn. Right. That simple.
I mean, just like movies, like horror movies, they have evolved to this level that, like, nobody could have comprehended 10 years ago when horror movies were garbage. But they're starting to become good again, and I'm really happy for it. But so are horror video games. They've evolved into this thing that nobody ever thought they would, especially with the impact of online multiplayer. When you play games like Dead by Daylight or The Last Year or Friday the 13th, where you can you really get into the feeling of, oh my God, I'm running away from Jason. This is terrifying.
Oh yeah.
And then you know that this person that is controlling Jason has a conscience, or has a conscience. Yeah. Might not have a conscience, but it's evolved to make you just as scared as when you watched those movies, if not more most times.
Well, yeah, because that's the difference between games and movies is that doing a movie, you're you're seeing it and you're experiencing what they're experiencing. With a game, you are them.
Oh yeah,
you feel their life in your hand as you control every direction you turn and everything you do. So that's what gives it that next level up. And that's why so many, horror games are able to elicit those responses instead of like horror movies can't.
Yeah, do you think that that's why horror games that are turned into movies flop so badly? Because they're not giving you that same response that the game did. Because you can't control where the movie's going to go.
And it is. That's one of the parts of it. It's any game that is made into a movie, you are losing that interactivity, you are losing the interest. So you want to be able to, with the Street Fighter, well,
God.
There's a lot wrong with Street Fighter movies, but with like the Street Fighter games, whenever they get turned into movies, everybody knows Ryu and Ken and his character, and Guile, Blanca, all them. But whenever you see their story played out, you're not controlling anything. You're not interacting. You're not doing the fights. You're not.
Right.
It's just there.
It's just you just have to sit back and enjoy, which is really fucking hard to do when you've used these characters, and these characters you've molded these characters into how you use them, and they're not working the way that you would use them.
And to stick with like the horror theme, we'll go with Doom.
You know how I feel about Doom.
and this is where we're going to get into that argument, but
that's for another time. But yes, continue with that.
No, I'm gonna bring it up right now because here's the thing with Doom. It's never going to be as good as the games, straight up, 100% up and down. You're never going to get as good as the games. I think it was a strong movie, not like the strongest of movies. I'm not going to give it a 5-star fucking rating. I'm not going to say, Ebert and Robert, like, that hog on its fucking, just, this movie's amazing.
I'll totally go Ebert on it and say what Ebert said. This movie is garbage.
But it's...
I say that, but Ebert probably said something good, and I don't know that.
Google it, I'm just saying. But if you're going to lose a lot of it because the interactivity is gone. But what I think they did with it is admirable because they're one of the first that attempted that first-person style. Right,
which nowadays we have movies like Hardcore Henry that, again, have done fantastic with it.
Yeah, and it's changed the game. But, it did something innovative with it. It had a great cast. And honestly, the storyline was a little skewed, but you're trying to bring, however many games that had come before it into 1 hour-and-a-half long movie.
Right.
You have a limited amount of time. You got to do something with it. And I think what they did with it was interesting.
Oh, look, fireworks.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
That was terrifying.
Man, these mics pick up just everything. That's amazing. It's Doom is fascinating to me because it had this whole concept of the soul being good and evil, and that's kind of where I think they lost the plot a little bit. I think if it would have been more of an infection, you would have been able to make that better.
They could have completely saved it
but they did this whole like good and evil of the soul thing, and I think that's where they lost a lot of it because you take somebody like Portman, where obviously Portman deserved to change. Like he was obviously a bad dude.
Right.
He's gonna get attacked. But then you look at somebody like Goat, where Goat was, he was, inflicting self-harm on himself, but he was obviously like a religious person trying to hold that standard. He was good to his teammates. He was, and he was so dedicated that he even killed himself to save his team.
Oh yeah.
So why was his soul so bad?
Right.
But I think as far as, a horror movie translated from a game, it was admirably done. And it was enjoyable to me. It gave me some good action.
As long as it's enjoyable to you, like we said at the beginning here, this is completely objective. It's up to you.
Even though your opinion sucks.
Whatever, dude. You can suck a dick. But like, you know, crucify me, but I just don't. I have never, and I'm dead serious about this, never liked a horror movie that was made from a horror game. Then again, this might shock you, I've never seen Resident Evil movies, but I've heard they're gold.
Folks, don't worry about this. We're going to get him on these Resident Evil movies, and we will get a full podcast on just Resident Evil. But yeah, they're garbage.
See, my aunt loves them. She's never played a game a day in her life, didn't even know they were made from games, but loves those damn movies.
See, here's the big problem with the Resident Evil movies, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler on this, but
that's fine.
The big problem is the introduction of superpowers.
Wait, do fucking what now? I've played all of the Resident Evil games. Please tell me how there are superpowers.
So Alice is the main character.
Right, played by Mia Jovovich.
Yes. So she gets infected with the T virus, but somehow, if I'm thinking about it correctly, she survives and is kind of like half-ass experimented on a little bit before the start of the next one, because I know she gets kind of captured, and she is put up against the Nemesis Project, which Nemesis is a great character from the games.
Oh, God. Love. Yeah.
But
without a doubt.
In this one, they kind of use him as a hunter of the STARS program.
No.
And she is kind of the counter program in which she is supposed to be this super soldier style thing where they use, and she's from the T virus, she has been gaining these abilities to, I'm talking like psychokinetic abilities.
Oh, good lord.
It flipped the script.
How about we stop making those movies and come out with Left 4 Dead 3?
I'm just saying. But it's bad because you have this fleshed out roster of characters.
Right.
I think the actor they got to play Wesker was phenomenal.
Really?
But what are you doing? Why does she have superpowers?
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
And then there's like this whole clone program where there's I'm talking just a gaggle of Mila Jovoviches.
That sounds like heaven to me, though.
Not in this movie.
Oh, God, no.
Heaven to you is hell to someone else. It is hell for the viewers. Because they decide to have a shit ton of Mila Jovoviches, and they all drop in. And I think they started realizing that they needed to not do superpowers because eventually they take her powers away in later movies.
Huh.
But it's not good because there's no reason she needs to have superpowers.
See, like my aunt loves the Resident Evil movies and also Underworld. Now, I love the Underworld movies. I will say that. Rise of the Lycans was a little bit weird. But it did its job, and I thought it was good.
The later you get into them, the weirder they get. Yeah. And it's a whole downward spiral.
Right. And the cast was amazing. Like, I love the cast. Come on, Kate Beckinsale in tight leather. You can't go wrong.
You can. But they didn't.
Roseanne Barr in tight leather.
Just saying. There's some people you don't want to see in tight leather.
But more power to you if you do it. But it had Bill Nye, my favorite English actor. Fantastic actor. I mean, weird hands, but good fucking actor.
Very true. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic series, but then at the same time, there's ones that I don't think either one of us are gonna say is good, like Blood Rain.
Oh God! Did you know that was made from a game?
Yes.
Goddamn! I loved Blood Rain, Blood Omen. That was amazing. I thought it was good.
The movie?
No, the game.
Okay, I was like, that's not...
Where you play the vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you play the, like, really pale dude with long hair.
That's not Blood Rain.
Was it not? I thought it was Blood Rain,
No,
Blood Omen.
Blood Rain has always been a female.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking about Blood Omen, the game, and that's...
Omen,
Yeah,
the game.
yeah. That's my bad.
Yeah, we're not going to edit that out. You live in that. You live in that badness that you just said.
I'm going to cry now because I'm so disappointed in myself for saying such stupid shit.
Yeah, this is our first episode. You're killing us.
Shut up.
Automatically.
With one comment?
With
one comment.
Fuck this. Way to go. No, Blood Rain is about a female vampire.
I've seen the movie, and it was absolute garbage.
That's how you know. Like, if you can watch it without playing the games and know that it's garbage, you know it's garbage. Like, it's...
Did you see Witchblade, though?
Let's focus on Blood Rain.
Let's not get into absolute abortions, but...
Blood Rain the game was fantastic to me. It was something that I played a lot. And it was to the point... It is so acknowledged that Blood Rain... Like, to Rain, the character in the game, Rain is the first video game character to make it as a Playboy coverfold.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is a thing.
Okay, yeah. That was a very big time for nerds. I remember that all too well.
No, I guarantee you nerds were just running them off the shelf. There were a lot of stiff socks that week. I'm just saying.
You ever stub your toe in a sock?
They did. I promise you. It was just nothing but Hot Topic selling fangs.
Just a bunch of pimple-faced freaks buying Trip pants and Playboys.
And in the stock news, it looks like Hot Topic has shot up 30 points and emos are on the rise.
Oh, my God. Speaking of emos, man, the lead singer of Black Veil Brides was in a movie with Malcolm McDowell, and it made me want to eat a gun.
Jesus. Anyway. God damn it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, like I said at the beginning of this is all opinions.
Yeah.
Everything we say, it's just our personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If you love it, if you hate it, it's perfectly fine. We are not going to hold it against you.
No.
I mean...
Crucify us all you want, but we're not going to shout it back.
I mean, the Sharknado series is going as strong as it is because people love to hate it and, hate that they love it. It's just how it is.
Mixture of both.
Everybody has their own opinion, and no opinion is wrong. Okay, hang on. Everybody has their own opinion, and you are all entitled to your own opinion.
But if it isn't our opinion, just know, I think it's wrong.
Jesus.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, everybody's got their own opinion, and you guys are more than welcome to it. This is our personal opinion, and that's just kind of how we're running it.
Oh, yeah.
But as we kind of come towards the end of the show, we're going to be doing something that we like to call accidental horror. So in this segment, we are going to...
we're going to be telling you about times in movies that are not horror movies, or at least were not meant to be horror movies, where they showed a piece that kind of absolutely terrified you, whether it was as you were a child or still terrifies you to this day.
Like something that, whether it was a comedy movie, whether it was whether it was an action movie, whether it was an adventure movie, whatever, it dipped into that dark zone, and it just took you to your core. So the one that we have chosen for this week is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, good Lord.
I wanted us to start out on something that was a little bit well known. And
I gotta say, when I saw this scene, man, when I saw it for the first time when I was a kid with my grandmother, I got that nervous laughter where you're just kind of like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, what's funny is now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. May not be Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I know it's an Indiana Jones movie. There was a scene in one of them that could also have easily been taken as an accidental horror scene.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a scene where he was fighting against this like this built up Indian dude. I think.
Oh God, yeah.
In front of a plane, and as the plane is circling around, dude gets chopped up in the freaking propellers. Yeah, and I'm like, that's some horror.
That's some gore for you, man. Those movies were known to have some crazy.
Oh yeah,
shit.
I mean, and most of the most of the Indiana Jones series could easily we could take a piece out of them.
What about that dude that ripped
Temple
out his? Yeah,
Temple
dude, like holy shit.
That whole scene. Like you can't say Kali Ma anymore. Well, I mean, everybody was just running around saying Kali Ma, Kali Ma. No, but it's you can't hear that without thinking about like a bunch of cultists tearing someone's heart out of their chest while they're still alive,
right? And
then dropping them down into a freaking volcano. What are you doing? Praying. I thought this was an adventure movie. What are you doing, Indy? Oh my God. So, but yeah, no, so this is the section, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, we, of course, have got to talk about the opening of the Ark.
Oh, the melting face.
The melting face.
The exploding face. The ghosts.
The ghosts. The face that gets sunken into itself.
I thought that was rad as shit, though.
Oh, no.
When I was a kid, I was just like, because I love spooky shit, I was just like, oh, that's fucking rad. And then the dude's face started melting, and I was like, oh, ow.
Monkey, what? Oh, no. But yeah, like, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about on this is, so they pop the chest, and they reach in, and Indiana Jones and Marion, his lover at the time,
tied up to a fucking pylon,
tied to a pole, which, you know, he's Indiana Jones. He's gonna get out of that. Come on now, let's be serious.
He'll use his whip to do it too.
But they are sitting there and they pop the chest. The Nazis have found it, popped the chest,
and it's just sand.
It's just sand, and they're like,
"What the fuck?
What the hell?" And then you see all of the electronics around them start sparking and freaking out. And then you look into the box and you see a storm inside the box. And lights start exposing from the box.
And it's pulsing for some reason as well, which was kind of fucking terrifying.
Now, mind you, the whole time, like, everybody's watching this.
Yeah.
Even Indiana Jones. Everybody's watching this shit happen. And then as these spirits start flooding out of the box, you hear Indiana, don't look, Marion. Just don't look, whatever you do.
Don't open your eyes. And I could just imagine the ghost trying to play a game with him like, oh, okay, we're going to walk away now.
Guys, no, seriously, just wait for it. He's gonna peek. I swear to God.
Oh, fuck this.
Dude, let's just get the rest of it.
Yeah.
But no, it was phenomenal because, like,
they start screaming.
This ghosts start flying around, and this ghost comes up to one of them, and it looks like a normal woman, a little bit ghoulish. Just this
close up,
and then face goes straight demonic on this ghost.
Oh yeah.
And then the dude starts screaming his head off, and this beam shoots out and kills all of the soldiers, runs them right through the heart, and their eyes are emitting this light. And then it focuses on the three main ones that were right around the ark, and his face, one of them's face starts melting off of his his face just melts, just straight
like
skin
chocolate off of a fucking marshmallow.
And then the other one on the other side, his whole body just exsanguinates and just sucks into itself.
Yup.
And then the last one just explodes in this gory
show. like that scanner shit.
Like it was just brutal.
And it's just, and don't forget, this is a group of Nazis. They had it coming anyway.
Oh yeah. No.
But it's at the same time you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was just like, I thought we were just having a fun romp with Indy. What's going on? And then, like, all of the spirits suck backwards, and they drag the bodies into the ark, and then it just shuts, and it's over. And you're like...
And it happens so quickly that it's just like, you don't have time to comprehend exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I watched that scene like 3 times, kept fucking hitting rewind, like, because it's so fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you watch this up until now, you're not thinking this is anything. You're just thinking this is an adventure movie. You know, he's gonna end it with like some big fist fight, or he's gonna save the girl right at the end. Yeah, go Indy. No.
And when you think of Indiana Jones nowadays, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark, you don't think the booby trap, or you don't think the sun shining a certain way. You think of this dude's face melting off every fucking time. That's the scene that pops in my head.
See, now with me, anytime I think of Indiana Jones, I'm thinking of calling him out. But that's just because Temple of Doom played like every week for like every Saturday. I remember it being on the same channel for like 2 years straight. You could never turn the TV on without seeing this dude.
Especially right after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Oh god.
But yeah, no. So that's a little bit of accidental horror right there.
That was a very terrifying piece in a movie that was not meant to be terrifying.
And every week we're gonna give a little bit of that. Right at the end of the show, it'll be the last segment. But there it is. That's us. Tell us what you want to hear, guys. We do have an email. It's the Sik and Twisted Horrorcast at gmail.com.
And the and in this one is spelled out AND.
Yeah, so it's SIKAND Twisted Horrorcast at gmail.com.
Yes.
Also find us on Facebook. We're at Sik and Twisted Horrorcast. But yeah, reach out to us. Tell us what you guys want to hear. If you guys want to hear us review a movie, if you guys want to hear us, if you guys got some accidental horror that you remember, let us know about it. If you guys have a game that you want us to talk about, we're kind of in this process of kind of figuring out this podcast right now, and I think we're going to do the way we've talked about doing it is. We're going to pick a subject for the month.
Yes.
And every week we will do, like, the first week we will do the good. The next week we will do a bad. And the next week after that we will, we'll keep it going from there. We'll do a good movie, we'll do a bad movie, video game, whatever. Of course, we're going to give a little bit of news out, a little bit of, but that'll be every episode. I think a big thing for the first month, we got a Friday the 13th coming up.
Yep.
In June, or July, I mean.
July, yep.
July is going to have a Friday the 13th, so obviously we are going to have to do Friday the 13th as our big opener. Yeah. That is going to be our first subject of the month, Friday the 13th, guys. So if you've got a specific movie you want to hear about, let us know.
Not Jason X to begin this, please.
No, that's going to have to be like one of the bad.
One of the many.
There's a plethora out there that are just pretty rough. Let us know what you guys think. Again, that's Sik and Twisted Horrorcast at gmail.com, and Facebook, Sik and Twisted Horrorcast. Give us a shout. Let us know what you're thinking, all right?
Please let us know what you guys think, what you guys want to hear. We want that feedback more than anything else because we want to supply you with the type of entertainment that you would want to hear. And we definitely want to supply the entertainment that we would want to hear as horror fans, so we want to hear what horror fans would want to hear.
Do you want more dick jokes? We'll do more dick jokes.
Oh, we'll do plenty. We'll dive in with those.
God damn it. He gave me a look. Guys.
All right, guys. We love you.
Oh, yeah. And
we love to scare you.
That's all. But yeah, that's what we got for you this week. Give us a shout out. Let us know what you think. All right. He's Sik.
And he's Twisted.
And this has been the Sik and Twisted Horrorcast.
Thank you for joining us. And
have a killer week.